anything, I had to, number one, I had to lead myself. And so I want you, it's on the screen behind you, I want you to know, today, if I could deposit one thing in you, it would be to lead yourself, to become a better leader. In fact, the way you lead yourself is really, number one, to know yourself. You can't lead yourself if you don't know yourself. Now, what do I mean by know yourself? You need to know your vision, your purpose, your dreams, those things that you've been thinking about that you want to accomplish. I want you to reintroduce yourself to the dream within you today. Because before you can effectively lead yourself, you've got to know where you're going and what you want to accomplish. Number two, you've got to grow yourself. You've got to make a commitment every day. I'm going to show up and I'm going to grow up. Today, I'm going to take something from this session and I'm going to become better because of it. I'm going to grow myself. The way I grew myself early on, John Maxwell had a question that he trained all of the leaders in our company to ask, and the question was this: what is your growth plan? How are you going to grow? If I had time today, and I would take it because David and John Maxwell is coming, I would challenge you to look at the person beside you and I would ask this question of the person beside you. What did you learn today that you're going to put in practice when you walk out? Because this is an opportunity. David and our team here at Maxwell Leadership Indonesia has put a lot of effort into creating an environment that if you will allow it, it will make you better. In fact, look at your neighbor and say, you better be better. Look at your second choice, the person on your other side, and say, you need to be better too.
You could be better too.
See, when we're given an opportunity like this, we need to take it and turn it into a growth plan that will make a difference. Now, when I began my first growth plan 25 years ago, a growth plan for me, what I did to grow myself was very simple. It was one, the content that I consumed. The people, the content that was going to inspire me. Number two, it was the people, the mentors that I was going to put into my life. And then number three, it was the experiences that I was going to consume. And when I began to focus on the content I was going to consume, the people that I was going to allow mentor me, the community that I had, and then I began to put intentionality on experiences, something unique happened to me, I began to grow year over year over year. And again, you can have it. If it can happen to Mark, if it can happen to David, if it can happen to John Maxwell, it can happen to you as well. The third thing that you need to do to lead yourself is to be yourself. Show up. In other words, what I'm saying here is we need you in your best authentic mode. The world don't need another counterfeit, another fake. The world needs you to be yourself and to show up. What I mean when I say be yourself, I want you to be a leader you would follow. Would you follow you? If you were not stuck with you, would you follow you? We work with a great company in the United States called Chick-fil-A. It's a fast food restaurant. I don't believe they're in Indonesia yet. Hopefully you will get them soon. They're a great restaurant. They ask every one of their managers before they make them a manager, they ask, would I want my child working for this leader? Would I want my child working for this leader? do me a favor right here. Just look at your neighbor and say, would I want my child working for you? Look at the neighbor beside you. Just kind of check them out. Would you want your kid working for your neighbor? But more importantly, would you want your kids working for you? You've got to be a leader you would follow. Number two, you want to be a leader that believes there is always more. There's always something I haven't accomplished that I want to accomplish. Be a leader that anticipates the day. In just a few minutes, Your next speaker is 78 years young. Now I know, David, your grandfather is 97. I got it. But when John Maxwell comes to the stage in just a moment, trust me on this, he's been anticipating connecting with you all day long. In fact, he's ready for me to hurry up and David to hurry up where he can get back up here. He can't wait. There's an anticipation that John Maxwell lives in. You know why? He believes there is more for him in his future. Can I get you just to make a statement of belief right here? I want you to make this statement with me. There is more for me tomorrow because of today. Will you make that statement with me? There is more for me tomorrow because of today. Sure there is. There is. You've got to be a leader that anticipates more. And finally, I want you to be a leader that leads for others. In other words, your leadership is not about you. It's about others. I love this quote. I don't know who to attribute it to, but except for one trivial exception, the world consists of other people. In other words, you're not quite perhaps as important as you think you are. Therefore, use your leadership to impact those around you. Be a leader that leads for others. One of the things I love about David and the entire team here is this organization is committed to you, not to us. We're in existence. We put this event on because we see your potential and we want you to achieve that potential. This leadership brand is about your potential, not our potential. It's about seeing you become better because we know there is greatness within you. When I figured out as a 30-year-old entry-level telesales representative that if I could take on the task of leading myself, I could accomplish more than I ever thought I could. If there was one takeaway that I could give you today that was a game changer for me, it would be to accept the challenge to walk out of here today and say, I'm going to lead myself better than I've ever led myself before. That will be my challenge for 2026. I'll go ahead and tell you, I know what 2027 and 2028 is going to be like. I'm going to challenge myself to lead myself better. The second area that I use to unload the baggage that I was carrying and put new stuff in is I realized that you've got to be a leader that leads others. You've got to lead others because if your dream is accomplished by only you, you're not dreaming big enough. In other words, teamwork makes the dream work. The need for a team is a difference maker. Now, when I say lead others, here's what I mean. Everybody thinks in many places, everybody thinks that leadership is about leading the people that report to me. It's about leading down. And we get that. We understand that leadership is all about leading down. How many people do you have report to you? I get asked that all the time. How many people call you boss? How many people do you lead? And what they really mean is you're the boss. How many people's on your team? And then the number of that is what impresses me. And so we think that leading others is all about a leadership position. But I want to challenge you, that's just one component. Your ability to lead others is super important. Lead them effectively. But your ability to lead your peers is also super important. You'll see, you've got to lead across. You've got to be able, I had to learn how to lead other people on the team that didn't call me boss. I had to figure out how to lead people that I didn't sign their paycheck. I couldn't make them lead me because they were a peer. And I began to develop my relational skills so that I could lead across. I could begin to lead people around me, my peers. I began to work with them. In fact, I began to complete them rather than to compete with them. I began to get excited about other leaders on my team that achieved things that I couldn't achieve by myself. I began to learn how to influence those on my team. And if you want to lead effectively and lead others, you're going to have to learn to lead your peers. But finally, in leading others, you've got to learn how to lead up. I'll never forget my first plane trip with John Maxwell. I was on the airplane with John, and I had been on John Maxwell's team for about 3 years. And I'm still convinced to this day that before we got on the plane, even though I had worked on John Maxwell's team for 3 years, somebody still had to whisper my name in his ear. I was working, I was doing great things. I had filled events just like this over and over and over again. But I was in the middle of getting a perk, a reward for filling an event like this, and I got to get on the plane with John Maxwell. And I was on that plane and I began to listen to the things that John Maxwell was asking questions about. He said to our leader then, our president, he said, hey, what's the numbers on that event? How's that product working out? What is the report on that right there? And I watched my leader, the guy that John was asking questions about, I watched him say, I'm not sure, I'll get back to you on that. I'm not sure about that answer, but I'll have that for you in a couple of days. I'll have that for you when I land. And I watched John ask 5 questions, and my leader couldn't answer any of them. I thought, wow, that's crazy. 3 weeks later, I won another contest and got to get on the plane with John again. Just like the last time, I'm convinced somebody whispered and said, oh yeah, this is Mark Cole again. Telling John my name. And I got on there, but right before I got on the plane, I told our president, I said, hey, here's some things if John asks the questions. Here's some things that might help John, help you answer John. And sure enough, the plane had barely taken off, and John leaned over to the leader and he said, hey, what about this right here? And I watched him kind of slip my piece of paper out from his pocket. And went, oh, this is how that's doing. And he did that 5 times. When we got off the plane, my leader asked me, he said, how did you know John was going to do that? You're a genius. I'm not a genius. I just found out what's important to my leader, and there's the information. To this day, John Maxwell calls me when he wants information because I anticipate what information he wants and how well it serves him. When you are going to lead and begin to develop yourself and become better, you're going to have to learn how to lead up. Are we doing good? You got it? All right, look at your neighbor and say, lead up. Let's go to number 3.
Lead up.
Number 3 is all about leading well. So lead yourself, lead others, and lead well. What I wish for you today, we are a coaching certification business. We see human potential and talent, and we develop that in others. That's what we do. And today, if I could just wave a magic wand, what I would want for you is for you to increase your value as a leader. I would want you to get paid more next year than this year. Anybody agree with me on that? Does anybody want to make more next year than you did this year? You know what I would wish for you? I would wish that you could increase your influence and people would want to ask you if they could give you a promotion. Anybody would like a promotion this year that you don't have right now? Does anybody have a dream to have a more influential job? Let me see your hand. If you would like to have a better job, more influence. Okay, you guys are doing well now, so let me go back to the first one. How many of you would like to make more money next year than this year? Oh, there's my people. There's my people. How many of you would like to have more significance, more impact with your community next year than this year? Let me see you. John, we're with our people.
That's my prayer.
Those that just raised your hand, let me tell you this right here. You're why we came. Because I want you to make more money. I want you to have that position that you want. I want you to accomplish that dream. I want you to have the impact because it feels good. I'm a leader that today I make more money than I ever imagined. I'm a leader that today speak on stages that I never imagined I would speak on. Today, I'm a leader that is the right-hand guy to one of the best leaders in the world. And it all came because I grew myself, grew others, and then began to increase my value in how I lead. We at Maxwell Leadership, we've committed our entire company, our entire legacy on helping people lead and become better in 3 ways. Would you like to know what they are?
Yes.
Would you like to know the 3 keys to success to
Yes.
making more money when you raise your hand?
Yes.
Would you like to know the 3 keys
Yes.
of what we mean when we say increase your impact? I can give them to you really quick. In fact, if you really want, I've got 6 minutes left, I can give it to you in 6 minutes.
Okay.
And it has impacted over 60,000 women and men in 169 countries. And I think it should happen in Indonesia to every one of you. It's 3 simple things: coaching, speaking, and training. If you can learn, and put all 3 of those up there, if you can learn how to mentor people around you better, your value will increase and people will pay you more because you brought value to them. We've mystified this idea of coaching, and there's a great big push in the United States, perhaps here in Indonesia, to become a coach, a leadership coach, a life coach, a health coach. Do y'all have that here in Indonesia? Look, everybody wants to be a coach. Don't mystify it. Coaching really for us means that you have a desire to learn how to interact with people one-on-one better, so that when they are done, when you are done working with them, they want to pay you more to work with them again. It means that in a work environment, you're not wanting to be a professional coach, it means in a work environment, you learn to bring so much value one-on-one to somebody in your workforce that they call you again to come back and help them again. You increase your value to work with people one-on-one. And then speaking. Not all of you want to speak like John Maxwell. Some of you want to speak like David. Some of you want to speak like Chris Robinson. That's good. But also we look at speaking and say, how can you effectively communicate more so that people see your communication as an asset and they want to increase your value? Don't mystify it. Don't say when David gives you a chance to join the team, don't go, well, I don't want to get on that stage thing. But you want to communicate better. Let me ask you this. Let me just ask you this. If you're married, raise your hand. If you have a significant other, don't you wish that your significant other could learn how to communicate better? In other words, don't you have people that just need to learn how to get their point across a little bit better? Well, guess what? So do you. So do you. There's a desire to increase and impact our community and our workforce by speaking and communicating better. And then finally, it's on training. It's this idea of I've been given something and I need to pay it forward. It's this concept that we call, if you've been given much is required of you to give to others. We call that training. It's taking resources and beginning to train and up-level people in a way that because they became better, because you paid it forward what you've been given. Absolutely. They see you as more valuable. In fact, I want you to do me a favor. Wherever you have taken notes today, I want you to look at your notes. Just from throughout the day, maybe it was John's first session, maybe it was our former president. I want you to just look at your notes, and I want to ask you the question. What's one thing today that you've learned that you know you need to go and train? Give that to somebody else. Get it in your mind. Get it in your mind. What is one thing you were given today that you need to pay forward and give it to someone else? I'm going to give you just a couple of seconds here to just get that in your mind, because then I'm going to ask you to get the person you're going to go train that concept to. Okay? So first thing is, what did I learn today that I should train somebody else, that I should give to someone else, that I should empower, encourage, equip somebody else? And now who's the person? Who's the person that you need to go and pay it forward with what you've been given? Are you ready? You got it? Look to your neighbor. Don't tell them what you're going to train them. Just tell them the person you're going to go train. The person you're going to go give a concept to. Now tell them right back. Tell the person beside you who your person is. Now, you can do that. You can effectively train, and it can make a difference. 7 days ago, I packed my bags. I packed my bags this time not with what I wasn't going to do, what I didn't want to do, but I packed my bags for what I was going to do. And David, it was a big moment for me, because as I was packing my bags, and I loaded it down, trust me, you don't want to know how heavy my luggage is from the United States. It's a little embarrassing. But when I packed them for this trip, David, I began to think about the significance of this trip. I began to think about my suit and what tie I wanted to wear on stage at Indonesia. Because this trip and these bags this time means that Indonesia is going to be transformed because of Maxwell leadership. The bag this time said, I work for an organization, I lead an organization that has determined that if it was good enough for the United States, if it was good enough for Poland, it's good enough for Indonesia, because Indonesia can be bigger than the United States. Let's tell John Maxwell that. It can be bigger than the English platform. I packed my bags with hope and belief, because while I didn't know you, I knew David. And while I didn't know who David was going to have in the room, I knew Indonesia. And I knew that in Indonesia I would meet you. And I knew that if I could introduce you to an easy, prescriptive way to lead yourself, lead others, and increase your value to lead well, that your world would be changed like mine was. That whatever baggage you brought in here today, you could leave it here and fill your suitcase with the powerful things here and go make a difference in the world around you. I knew that if together today we would give each other the opportunity, you the opportunity to hear and absorb and to use your time, we would bring you an opportunity that is impacting literally tens of thousands of people around the globe. Here's what I do. If you would come in today and believe with all of your heart, just like I did, that this environment is my ticket to the life and the impact that I wanted, that it would make a difference. And today I'm here to tell you, I see not 10, not 100, I see hundreds of women and men that's ready to make a difference for yourself and the world around you, and see Indonesia be the best country in the entire world. Thank you very much. I believe join the team who want to be here and make a difference. Thank you.
Tidak banyak yang tahu, air bisa mulai mendidih bahkan suhu 100 derajat.